tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away, as you fade away.
I'm not sure if I've mentioned before, but I love a good train wreck. I mean, I don't like it when like a human train wreck murders someone, like that's like a train wreck going off a cliff. But I like people that act like natural disasters. I don't want them in my life, but I like watching a good crash out or someone who's making ridiculous arguments and excuses. Don't try to analyze me about it. I'm just strange in that way. And today is a train wreck. But unfortunately, it is one of those off the cliff ones. You know how a lot of us true crime weirdos will say that we have like a favorite serial killer or whatever? Well, I do get that. It's not really a favorite in a good way. It's just something about the diabolicalness or something like that. Well, I personally don't actually have a favorite serial killer. I hate serial killers and I don't like to talk about them. But I do have some favorite things that are, I guess, kind of strange when it comes to true crime. I like stupid murders, like the ones that give the ridiculous stories. I really love the narcissistic ones like Sarah Boone, Chef's Kiss to her just for her absurdity. I like watching when like the lies unravel, and I guess I just love watching absurd kind of antisocial behaviors, bad actors and actresses. I don't know, it's kind of a sickness with me. But I also have like favorite evidence. And my favorite evidence used to be DNA. Like you can't explain it away, it's concrete, it's way better than eyewitnesses. But recently in the last few years, probably since the Murdaugh murders, I have a new favorite, and that would be cell phone analysis. You so much as unlock your phone and like that shit is logged. So this case is that I'm doing today is also really recent. So although it has kind of come together with a verdict, I'm waiting on the sentencing information and the appeals, but I'm not really too worried about the appeals overturning anything here. We have a bit of a cornucopia of things that I love. Some bad acting, some ridiculous stories, lies unraveling, and of course, cell phone analysis. This is the murder of Ryan Cooper. Ryan Roy Cooper was born June 1st, 1979 in Waterloo. Not the one that's in Ontario, but in Iowa, which I always for some reason stumble on that state and I want to say Ohio, but it's Iowa. And he grew up there with his parents, Jan and Connie, and then brothers Jason and Aaron, and he also had a sister named Michelle. He graduated from North Tama High, and both his mom Connie and his brother Jason passed away at some point before 2021. Jan and Connie had owned a cattle farm, and after finishing school, Ryan joined the family business and settled on K Avenue in Traer. Now, at some point, Ryan had married and had a son named Cole, but him and his first wife had divorced at some point, and he remarried Karina Alpers, and then they added to the brood Cade, Cable, and Cortland. Ryan was definitely a family man and a really hard worker. Like farming is hardworking, but family was everything to Ryan. He was definitely a man's man. Like he liked his sports, beers with friends, snowmobiles, customizing all of his all terrain toys that he had. He spent a lot of time in his shop tinkering on like machine things. That was what he liked. But he had a real soft spot for his kids and adored all of them and just being a father and a provider to his family. And Karina helped support the family as well. She was working as a hairdresser. Now, the Cooper's farm was a rather extensive property and a big business. It wasn't just farming. They also did some hauling and other stuff besides that. Besides Ryan, his brother Aaron also lived and worked on the farm. And so there were 4 houses that were set up in various places along the property. One that was for Ryan's family to live in, one for Aaron, There was another one that his parents had lived in, and then there was a fourth, which might have been originally for the other brother, Jason, the one that passed away, but I actually don't know if anyone was living in it at the time. And the business was very successful and it was very large, and it was basically Aaron and Ryan that were running it. At 4:30 in the morning of June 18th, 2021, Aaron Cooper received a phone call from his sister-in-law, Karina Cooper. Aaron, although essentially a farmer, he was also a volunteer firefighter.
Your first name and your last name and spelling them.
Aaron Cooper, Aaron.
COOPDR.
All right, so I want to talk to you then about early morning of June 18th. Did you receive a phone call from Karina Cooper on that morning?
I did.
What was the nature of that phone call?
That somebody was inside their home.
Can you describe the tone or demeanor of the conversation you had with her?
Hysterical.
So you get a call and she says someone's in their house. Did she say anything else?
Not much, just words you couldn't really come up with. It's mainly just screaming.
Did she say anything about Ryan at all?
Oh,
Did she mention whether Ryan was injured or bleeding?
no.
Did she ask you to call 911?
No.
Did she ask you to call for an ambulance?
No.
Do you remember roughly what time this call was?
4:30
That's 4:30 a.m. or p.m.
a.m.
What were you thinking at that time?
At first, didn't know if it was real just because woke up out of sleep for it, but I didn't know what to think.
So what'd you do?
I grabbed a pistol that I had and went over there.
As Aaron only lived a few minutes away, he arrived at Ryan and Karina's place less than 5 minutes later. He had called 911 immediately as he was leaving his place. Arriving at Ryan's while he was still on the call with 911.
And I'll tell you in a minute, I just got a call from my sister-in-law that somebody's in their house.
Okay, someone's in her house. What's
Yeah.
address?
It's K Avenue, 1846 K Avenue.
1846 K Avenue. What you got, see? Okay, someone's in her house,
Yep, I'm just pulling in now.
and you're there.
I'm just going in the driveway.
Okay, that's up in Traer area.
Yep.
Hey,
What's your sister's name?
Karina Cooper.
Cooper? Karina?
Yep. Well, I am a firefighter. I got my lights on right now. I just pulled over.
okay, but she said somebody was in the house.
Hysterically.
Yeah,
Because we have
I see the kids in there.
we have a
female on 911. They can't understand her.
Okay.
I'm just wondering if that's fur.
Right. I am armed. Do you want me to proceed? Okay. Yeah. Kid that came out and told me to come out.
Okay. Brother,
She's still screaming.
She's still screaming. Well, boy, find out. But she said there was somebody in her house.
What the fuck?
What brother's say? What I do? It ended. Ow.
okay, we need an ambulance. Did somebody get shot?
What?
Did somebody get shot?
What?
I got blood coming out.
Slap it up, hey.
Okay, all right.
People-
we need an ambulance.
Put you that address that you're at. 1846 K Avenue. And how old is the person that's on the floor with blood coming out now?
What's that?
How old is the patient? Do you know?
fuck?
It's all right. I want you to take a deep breath.
Nobody here, Karina. Is 42. What? Sir, can you tell me who it is that's on the Ryan Cooper. What's his name? Cooper. Ryan Cooper. What's your name? Aaron Cooper. Aaron Cooper? Okay. Yes. He's my brother. I don't know. And you said you're a firefighter, correct? Yes. Aaron? Let me try to check. It's fine. Aaron? Yeah. I need to know, no. Is there anyone in the house that's in danger now? No, I don't think so. So there's no one there with a gun? No. Sorry.
Okay, you're doing fine, Aaron, okay? I just want you, if you can, all right? So they're with
a gun at this time?
No.
We got
an ambulance
started.
Okay, we're going to get upstairs. Have a deputy.
On the way, okay?
Okay,
You're doing a good job.
Yeah.
You're doing a good job.
Tell me how your brother's doing.
What happened to your brother? I'm sorry.
Could you say that again, please?
Just a basic liner. Blood out of his mouth here.
Do you know if he's been shot?
No.
He has not, but there's blood coming out of his mouth.
Here and all over on the floor. There.
Still blowing all over?
Oh,
Can you go, please? Aaron? Can you tell me what went on or what's going on so I can advise our officer?
There's nothing to advise.
I think at this time there's nothing going on.
No.
Okay. Do you know, does he
No, I don't. I'm trying to
Aaron, I have 2 deputies coming your way, okay?
One's coming from Traer, so it shouldn't take too long to get to you. Are you guys in the living room?
I'm sorry.
So, yeah, I'm sorry, I may have put a finger.
There's a deputy here now.
There is a deputy.
You there?
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and let you go, okay?
Okay.
All right. Take care.
Now, there was a lot of yelling and screaming in the background, but what Aaron finds at his brother's place was completely heartbreaking. His nephew Cade was in the window. He opened the door for him only to discover that Ryan was covered in blood in his living room on his recliner with Karina draped over him, like crying and screaming hysterically.
I saw Cade in the window.
So you saw Cade in the window. How old was he at that point? Roughly.
12, 11 or 12.
What were you thinking when you saw Cade in the window?
My threat level went somewhat down.
Okay, why? Should be obvious, but
Because if there was somebody in their house that was not supposed to be there, I wouldn't figure he would be out and about.
what were your observations of his demeanor at that time, if any?
Mainly just looked like shock,
Okay. When you say that, what do you mean?
just confusion.
Did he say anything to you?
Not that I remember.
Are you hearing anything at this point when you get up towards the door?
Her screaming.
When you say her, you mean Karina?
Karina.
Cade lets you in. You hear Karina screaming. Cade's the one that opened the door. Where's the screaming coming from?
The living room. Well, I couldn't tell exactly, but it would seem like it was coming from the south side of the home.
Okay. Did you make any attempt to talk to Karina? She's sitting on top of Ryan. She called you over there. She said someone was in the house. Did you try to talk to her at all?
Not that I recall.
Any reason?
Hysteria.
Ours or hers?
Hers.
Were you able to get any information out of her?
No.
He said that she's sitting on top of him. She's got her face against his face. Did you ever see her attempt to render aid?
No.
Did you ever see her attempt to perform CPR?
No.
Did she ask you to perform CPR?
No.
Any reason to believe she's aware that you're a volunteer firefighter?
Yes.
Why?
We're family, and she knows I'm a firefighter.
Were you able to obtain any information from Karina Cooper at that time?
No.
Explain.
She was hysterical, and I would consider her inconsolable at that point, so I didn't attempt to talk to her. After briefly speaking to Deputy Fangman, we both went over to the deceased and observed that he had blood coming out of his nose, his mouth, and his ears, and that there was a large pool of what appeared to be blood that had started to coagulate or dry, and then there was also blood spatter on the wall behind the recliner. I asked her what happened, and she said that she had initially heard a loud noise in the house, and that's what had woke her up, so she exited her bedroom and went through the living room and peeked into the kitchen and didn't see anything. She then returned back to the living room and thought she heard a noise or a snore or something like that. So she turned on the light and observed Ryan deceased in the recliner. Yes, I asked her if what she thought had fallen could have been a gunshot, and initially she said she didn't know. And then after briefly speaking with Deputy Fangman, I asked her that again, and she said she didn't know. She had never heard a gunshot before, except maybe on TV. And then I inquired about her owning a gun, and she stated that she had never shot the gun that she had tried to retrieve from the safe. Are you the firefighter? What happened? Where's the guy with the gunshot? My brother in the living room. With the other deputy? Yeah.
You saw her, but she was literally on top of him when I came in here.
She's hysterical. What's the maid's wife? That's the wife.
So there's 3 kids now. I already know the door's shut.
Okay. Well, call the ME and we get gloves and tell them to get hold of Dennis.
Please, somebody help me now! Her in your truck.
No,
Where is a kiss? Why you so many elevating?
What's her name? What's her name? Karina. Karina, your kids are in the bedroom with the door locked, okay? Is that your brother in there? Have you said? You already go in there?
Does he have any problems with mental health problems or anything?
I don't know. What you fighting? Huh? What you fighting? Like in a swat spot. Yeah, he was.
Reindeer Mosey. Because that portion's kind of hard to hear. Couldn't quite hear, but it sounded like you were asking if Ryan Cooper had any medical problems. Is that correct?
Medical or mental health problems, yes.
Why were you asking those questions?
Just in case if it was end up being a suicide.
Karina, I need you to tell me what happened.
Can you tell me what happened?
Yeah, something fell. It always falls out.
Okay. And then what happened?
I peeked in the living room and then I went to the kitchen.
Okay.
I don't know. I didn't find anything. And then I heard him snore. Or some weird.
Can you put them in your truck?
No, I don't want my kid.
Well, I'm right. We need.
I want my baby.
They're right there, okay? They're in your brother's truck, okay? Did you see anybody else in the house?
What? He made a noise and I turned on the light.
And then that's when he was there.
Everywhere.
Okay. But you didn't hear or see anyone else?
What if
They're here.
What?
What if they're here?
I don't.
oh, yeah.
You're safe, okay?
You're safe.
Alright?
So scared. I couldn't get my fucking gun out of the safe.
You couldn't get your gun out?
I went. Keegan woke up and I put him in the bedroom with the other kids and I told him to stay and I couldn't get the safe open to get my gun. Ow.
Okay.
I couldn't do anything.
It's okay, alright? But you didn't actually see anybody? Okay. So did he do that to himself?
No way. No fucking way.
Okay.
No. Somebody's here, so he has to be here.
I'm so scared. I'm not hearing it.
Now, later that morning, when the scene was secured and things had calmed down a little bit, they were able then to question Karina to find out a little bit more about what happened that night in their house.
Okay. So you fall asleep between midnight. You think that you get up around 3, because that's your kind of your usual time. Okay. And then you go back to bed.
Shut the door, the kids are in there, and went back to sleep.
Okay.
And I didn't feel like I was like hard asleep when there was it sounded like something crashed in the kitchen. Sounded like something falling, which seems to happen a lot in that house. But the house is torn apart right now because we're working on it. I've got stuff sitting everywhere.
Okay.
It was loud.
Like a.
So we have a wire rack in the shower, and it's on a suction hook thing, and it fell a couple days ago, and it was loud, and it sounded just like that. Not just like that, but loud like that, like a racket.
So no sounds of like glass breaking or anything like that. Just kind of the loud, a ruckus. And that woke you up, or that
Scared me. I kind of laid there for a second. See, kids woke up, which they didn't. It seems like there's always something stupid once a week that him and I get up and see because of the highway or something. I got up and I peeked in the living room and he was laying there, and I went to the kitchen and turned the light on in the living room, and then...
Okay. Okay.
And then I walked up to him and I just foot there and blood, like everywhere. Like a lot.
So when you notice it, obviously, you see the large amount of blood, and you realize that something's wrong, right? Do you make any attempt at? Do you touch him? Do you?
Like shaking and screaming in his face to wake up.
Okay.
I called Aaron before. Well, like, touched him or whatever. And then I just remember I started screaming and screaming. I came down. That's when I told him to get in my room with the other two kids, and I called Aaron for in there.
Is that the room?
Yeah, I think I locked the room. I was in and out. I went in and locked it. I tried to get my stupid gun that I don't even know how to work and have never shot out of the safe that he said we had to have, and I couldn't even get the thing open.
What about in the last 2 days or like the last week? Is there anything out of the ordinary with him, or maybe between the two of you or anything like that? No.
Better than we have been in a while. Kids are finally getting older and we can breathe again.
Yeah.
He's got a lot on his plate right now with the shops going up, and his mom passed away a year ago, so some shift in responsibilities with the farm, and
No real issues between the two of you? Okay.
we didn't get married till we were mid-30s. We've been through all that garbage.
Yeah.
Has to be personal, okay? But again, these are things we need to ask just to try to figure this thing out. Has there been any marital issues between the two of you?
We had a rough patch shortly after his mom passed away where we were getting along. There wasn't any real issue. We were just both sad and mad and not communicating, and nothing where there was ever any doubt about our marriage.
Okay, so no affairs of any kind?
No.
By him or by you? And the only reason I ask is if someone went in and did something to him, and again, we don't know. Could be that, could be medical, we don't know. I'm just thinking about like the scorn lover type thing or anything like that.
No.
Okay.
During this interview with Karina, Aaron mentioned to some of the other officers that had been there that there were rumors around town that Karina had been involved in a relationship with a man named Houston Danker.
What can you tell me about your relationship with Houston?
Danker?
Yeah.
He's my friend.
Okay. And I'm going to be blunt with you. I'm going to be forward with you. The only reason we ask is Aaron made mention about maybe Ryan seeing something on your Snapchat. Not that was Houston, but there was something with your Snapchat.
Last fall, there was a Snapchat that wasn't even meant for me.
Okay, tell me about that.
Supposedly, Ryan saw it, not me. And he told me about it. It was something about a married woman and naked, seeing her naked or something like that. And Ryan saw it and confronted me, and I confronted Houston, whom we're friends on Snapchat, and that's it. And he swore up and down to both of us that it wasn't intended for me. Like, this is dumb.
Well, we're trying to get to the bottom of dumb.
Oh my God.
We're just making sure that all the questions are answered. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, is it a situation where Houston sends a snap to you that's not supposed to go to you?
Supposedly. He did send a snap to me, yes.
That is about you being a married woman or naked with a married woman?
I don't know.
You don't know? Well, what does Ryan say about that?
We've talked about it since, and we've talked about it with friends. That's how non-issue it became after we talked about it. That said something about, remember, I've seen you naked, and something about a married woman. It's old.
Oh, bye-bye.
We're friends. Ryan didn't like him. They don't fundamentally get along. So as his wife, I said, I'm not his friend anymore. Or cutting his hair, just keep a distance. It was over, it was done.
So we have that straight that they were just friends. Then he at some point had accidentally sent some Snapchat thing and it wasn't supposed to go to her, blah, blah, blah. So they confirm this story then with Houston.
The rumor that's going around is Ryan, or you and Karina were Snapchatting. Did that actually happen at some point?
Yeah.
Okay. When did that happen?
Yeah. I mean, if it's once a week, twice, I mean, it's...
Is it still going on?
With me and Karina?
Yeah.
No, I mean, like I said, it's random Snapchat shit. I mean, it's...
Affair with her.
Right. Well, and I'll put it this way. I'll completely dumb it down. So, like,
right.
With me and Karina, the hard thing with all that rumor being spread is I was literally sitting there like I would say a gay best friend. I was having, me and my baby mama split up, okay? And I was getting my hair cut by Karina, and I have 2 kids.
Right.
She loves kids, whatever, and she always told me, if you're ever in a pinch, hey, I don't have a problem watching your kids, whatever. And so we were all, everybody was friends, whatever, well then, she watched my kids a couple times when I was in a pinch. Well, then it fucking, how small towns talk,
Yeah.
Houston's kids are over at Karina's. He's fucking nailing her, and then, yeah. And I guess that's probably where Ryan probably got upset. I mean, if
you kind of, again, keep in mind, I don't know you. I've known you for like 10 minutes now.
Yeah.
But you kind of got a reputation where you're pretty successful with the ladies, right?
I won
better luck than some. Or not as bad as others.
Years ago. Yeah, I mean, it's bad to say, but I'm young with 2 kids. Yeah.
Right.
But,
so the 2 kids from 2 different moms? Is that?
No, same mom.
Same mom?
Same mom, yeah.
But you guys aren't married?
No.
Did you go on about any last night or?
After I got gas.
Early morning? Yeah.
After I got gas, I just went and looked at a couple farms down by Cloutier. We have a farm down by Cloutier.
What time do you think you went to bed?
Last night? Oh, probably 11:30.
So after...
Yeah, I'd say 10:30, 11.
Did Karina ever confide in you in anything? Like her and Ryan are doing so hot, or did she ever complain about anything regarding Ryan? Since you might, if you're the gay friend, sometimes that's who people go to, right?
See, and it was never like really that, like the gay best friend part pretty much just comes from me and my kids. I mean, not anything.
You're the hopeless single dad that needs help right now.
That's pretty well kind of the way. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep. Are you seeing someone now, or?
No. My last deal with the girl I had kids with, like fucking kind of burns you.
2 kids and you're not together, so
That's not hard.
It's the child support and everything, and I don't know.
Okay, so we have that established now. There was no funny business going on between Houston and Karina. They were just friends. But there were also no signs of any forced entry and what turns out to be 2 gunshot wounds to the face by a .22 caliber weapon. And then there was this lone shell casing that was laying near Ryan. So it's definitely looking like a murder. I mean, it didn't really take a lot of detective work to figure that part out. And this case would actually take 3 years to fully investigate. But the actual murder weapon, this .22 caliber, would never, or at least not till this point, ever surface. But the police feel that there are a little bit more to these rumors about Karina and this Houston guy. And they start looking at like what evidence they can gather and talking to people that knew the 2 of them as well as Ryan. So let's first hear from the medical examiner because we are going to start getting into what evidence they were able to find.
Thing of note.
After Mr. Cooper's body had been cleaned, he had a number of different injuries. The major injuries and the ones that caused his death were on his face. There's a gunshot wound here to the left cheek that can be seen in this photograph. Of note in this photograph is 1 of 2 gunshot wounds on the left cheek, and around that gunshot wound are pinpoint red dots or abrasions, which is called stippling.
What is stippling?
Stippling is abrasions or little scratches in the skin that occur when unburnt gunpowder particles make contact with that skin. When a bullet is fired, or when a gun is fired, the bullet leaves the gun and it's accompanied by gunpowder. That gunpowder can be completely burned in the form of soot, or it can be unburned. And when that unburned gunpowder particle makes contact with the skin, it does so with such force that it causes a little scratch or abrasion in the skin, which is that stippling that we see here.
Does the presence of stippling tell you, as a medical examiner, anything about the location of the barrel of the gun in relation to Mr. Cooper's face?
Yes. The presence of soot and or stippling, to me, says that the gun was relatively close to the skin. Soot can't travel very far, really a matter of a few inches. The unburnt gunpowder particles can travel a bit farther, maybe a few feet. So the presence of that stippling indicates that the gun was likely within a few feet of the body. He had a total of 2 gunshot wounds to the left cheek, 1 closer to his nose and 1 closer to his ear. So each gunshot wound was associated with injury to the skull and the brain, and bullets were recovered. There were no exit wounds. Bullets were recovered from each gunshot wound.
So there was a footwear impression that was found by the initial crime scene team with a diamond-shaped sort of pattern. So that was the type of pattern that we were looking for on the bottom of these shoes.
Did you, as part of your being in this residence, locate footwear that had what you were looking for in terms of a diamond-shaped pattern?
We believe this pattern was fairly consistent with the footwear impression that was found at the scene. Yes, this is in the entryway with the carpet and the black vans. That's where they were located.
And you described those shoes as a type of shoes called Vans?
Yes, correct.
Firearms or ammunition or any ballistic evidence that you recovered from Houston Denker's residence?
Yes, we recovered 14 .22 caliber fired shell casings from the outdoor, kind of around the porch area of the residence.
So just to regroup here, there's 2 gunshot wounds to the face at close range, which feels very personal. And I will kind of add, to look someone in the face and then shoot them is diabolical. There is no forced entry, and there's now these footprints that are similar to shoes that Houston owned, and also a bunch of spent shell casings from a 22 caliber that were found at his place. But what would connect Karina to this? I mean, she said they were happily married, pretty much the ordinary marital squabbles, but things were good. Financially, of course, they were doing well. I mean, what would Karina gain from murdering her husband? Well, 2 weeks after Ryan's murder, Karina phoned Aaron, Ryan's brother, to find out what all this talk was in the media about this single shell casing and what it meant.
So she calls you 2 weeks later and says that the news media is reporting that a shell casing was found?
Correct.
Okay. And what did she say to you?
I don't remember exactly word to word, but just wanted to know what a shell casing was and what that would mean.
What was your reaction or thought based on that conversation?
I would assume she would know what a shell casing is.
Why?
Just being around all of us hunters and knowing what guns are around.
Okay. Has she been around? I'll ask you this. Did Ryan hunt?
Yes.
To your knowledge, did her sons hunt or use weapons?
Yes.
There are guns around their house and property?
Yes.
Was she around guns, hunting, shells, shell casings, bullets?
I would assume so, yes.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, but how would you characterize this conversation? You found it to be
odd.
After Ryan died, did you have a visitation for him?
Yes.
You attended that visitation?
Yes.
Was Karina there?
Yes.
Did you have any observations of her behavior at that visitation?
Theatrical.
Now, theatrical is definitely a good word for Karina. She plays a lot of tears up in the courtroom as well. And remember how when Aaron and the first deputy arrived on the scene, how Karina was literally sitting on her husband? Well, the prosecution contends that might have been part of her plan all along to destroy evidence, based on like blood spatter and that kind of thing.
So this is a photograph which was taken off the body cam. It's a still frame. And essentially as the first officer is coming into the room here, his body camera is working. And again, I have the ability to take a frame off of that. And what we have here is we have Karina Cooper here. You can see her. She's straddling. In fact, this happens to be her left leg here. We can, yes, Dan, Your Honor? You may. Thank you. We can see that she's on the Mr. Cooper here. And again, one of the things that we look at, even though it's a photograph that appears to be out of focus, or again, it's a body camera, it's moving. So again, what happens is we have some motion in the camera itself.
Anything of note with regard to the fact that Karina Cooper is on top of the decedent?
So one of the things that we have to consider, and it always comes up, has the scene been altered? It can be intentional or it can be unintentional. So we know that Mr. Cooper, certainly 911 has been called, that he's incurred an injury. We can see that Karina Cooper is on top of him. So right away when we're doing an assessment, or at least I'm looking at the photographs, because ultimately she's removed from Mr. Cooper, we have to take into consideration that there's possible movement of Mr. Cooper by Karina Cooper. Not only that, but what has she touched that could have altered? For example, I could have Mr. Cooper could have some blood on his face, could be moving that blood around, which could be changing the appearance of the stain.
Anyways, besides Aaron mentioning the rumors about Houston and Karina, like what would really point the police to even look into the two of them anyways? Like after they both denied being in any kind of romantic relationship. I mean, besides the facts that she was performative, I guess you could say, in her grief, and the no forced entry thing, there really wasn't a lot to connect them. I mean, Ryan could have had enemies that had a key, or maybe they left their doors unlocked at night, and Karina just kind of forgot to mention about that. Well, Karina and Ryan had friends that they had both spent a lot of time around, and they became suspicious after Ryan's murder that Karina maybe did have a motive.
What's the nature of your relationship with Ryan and Karina?
They were friends of Brian's, and they became friends of mine.
Did you ever observe any instances in which Karina and Ryan argued?
Several.
When you say several, what do you mean?
Well, it seemed like a lot of times when we would go camping, something would get said or something wouldn't get done, and she would get upset and it would cause a fight. Or if we were at someone's shop or at their shop, something would get said, and I don't know what those things were, but it seemed like she might get a little upset more than you would expect someone to get upset.
Did you ever see her or hear her make any threats towards Ryan?
Yes, I did.
How many times?
Well, the one that stands out in my mind is the night that she yelled at him and said that she hated him and would shoot him in the face.
When she yelled at him and said she would shoot him in the face, how would you characterize her behavior and the way that she said it?
Well, at that point, we're like, oh boy, time to go. We've all had enough. And so, and like before, didn't take it out of context. It was just Karina getting angry, and we just decided it was time to leave.
When she was upset at him, were the occasions she would make threats at him?
Yes.
Do you recall some threats that you were present that she made when you were there?
There was times in general relationships, I hate you, I wish you were dead. Obviously, the big one you're thinking of is we were in his shop one night, and she said I could shoot you in the face, which was surprising.
So, in terms of what she said, it wasn't the same as other threats of just I hate you. There's something more venomous in what she said.
I would take as the previous ones as of relationship fights, but yeah, then the latter was more surprising.
At some point, would you say that there was a shift in your relationship with Karina or Karina's relationship with the whole kind of extended friend group?
Yes.
Can you pinpoint about when that occurred?
Late fall of the year before Ryan was murdered.
So the fall of 2020, would that be about the time? What were some of the changes that you noticed?
Just pulling away from our friend group, not responding back to messages. We had heard some different things throughout town, and we just kind of started separating, I guess.
I guess that's kind of where I was going. Did something specific, or can you identify something specific that may have triggered that shift in the friend dynamic?
It would have been the rumors going around about her in Houston.
Before we get to that, I want to ask you a little bit about what you noticed between Karina and Ryan's dynamic. How would you describe Karina's behavior or towards Ryan?
Depending on a given day, some days were okay, some days were not, and her demeanor towards him was anger.
Can you recall any examples when you say some days were okay and then some days were not okay?
I mean, there was times where she would rant about him and talk about how
he was always off working and doing all this stuff, and she would just get like angry about it. And at one of our conversations, she's like, we talked about, I'm gonna paraphrase because I don't remember exactly her words, but it was like talking about if she would leave, she would try to take him for everything he had.
Were some of these incidents in front of Ryan? Would he be around during some of these times that she would behave this way?
I mean, when she was mad at him, she would. Some of them were not. There was an instance where we were all hanging out and she would refer to him as, because we worked together, me and Ryan, she would refer to me as his work wife and kind of belittle, I guess, Ryan, and be like, why don't you ask your work wife? Maybe she can do it better for you.
Did you take that as kind of a dig?
Yeah, correct.
How would Ryan respond?
Objection, Your Honor, you're fair.
Sustained.
Throughout Ryan's, or when you and Karina were discussing things, did she ever express to you any resentment towards Ryan?
Often.
What were those resentments centered around?
That Ryan got everything, or the farm got everything.
Were they primarily financial?
Yes. Yes, at one point there was a conversation about Ryan's ex-wife, Liz, and saying that Liz got everything, and if she stepped out, she would have nothing. She would not get anything.
Thank you.
Because everything was wrapped up in Cooper Farms.
Kirsty, did you know Houston Danker?
Yes.
How did you know him?
He is a couple years younger than my son, my oldest son. So he was a Traer boy, and...
So you knew him from around town?
Yes.
At some point, did you learn that Karina and Houston were engaged in some sort of relationship?
Objection, Your Honor. Relies on hearsay.
Overruled, you can answer.
Yes, I did.
How did you find out about this relationship?
We were at a friend's house, and he wound up showing up there in the late fall.
And when you say
2020,
who are you referring to?
Houston. And we had heard throughout the day that they were texting each other and snapping each other back and forth. And when he got to the house, we took his phone and seen all the messages.
Did you actually see these messages yourself?
Yes. Her Snapchat handle was Casey with a heart, and I seen I love you and a picture above.
Where were you when you saw these messages?
I was at Pam Ewald's house.
What did the messages suggest to you was the nature of Houston and Karina's relationship?
A sexual relationship, an affair.
Did you ever confront Karina about those messages?
I did not. She had sent me a message the next morning.
The message that she sent you the next morning, what did it say?
Paraphrasing, to the fact of, can you believe the rumors going around that me and Houston, I just did not respond, because at that point there was so many things prior to that that just solidified to me that she was lying.
Did she ever admit to you that she was having a relationship or an affair with Houston?
No.
Are you aware personally if at some point Ryan Cooper became aware of the relationship between Karina and Houston?
Yes.
How are you aware of that?
Through one of the guys I worked with at Aurora.
So someone else told you that?
Yes.
Do you recall about when that occurred?
Spring.
Would have been spring of
Spring of
2021?
Yeah.
Shortly before Ryan was killed?
Yeah, I'd say anywhere from that March, April.
Okay. In the days and weeks leading up to Ryan's death, did you notice anything unusual or what you would describe as unusual about Karina's behavior?
Yes.
What did you notice?
2 days before his murder, we had all of our Snapchat group friend. Me and Carmen had gone down to a show in Dallas, Texas for our business. And when we landed and got to the airport, we were just scrolling through our Snapchats, and all of a sudden it said Karina had left the group, and we're going through the rest of them just normal, and she wound up going back, leaving all of the groups that we were ever part of.
Can you just clarify, who is Carmen?
Carmen is a part of the friend group and a business partner of mine. Carmen Earhart.
Did the ladies in the group kind of have a separate group that was apart from the full families of groups?
Yeah, we had multiple different groups.
Did you guys have kind of
We had a golf group.
Okay, a golf group.
We had a TCMW group. I mean, we had them named all sorts of different things.
Okay. When you say the TCFW, was that the Tama County Housewives group?
Yes.
Okay. And so you're saying about 2 days before Ryan was killed, Karina just left all of the Snapchat groups. Is that correct?
Yes.
In addition to Karina hating and being angry and threatening towards Ryan, he also had a $500,000 life insurance policy, and all of the family's assets were tied up in the Cooper farms, which she, as Ryan's wife, would be entitled to half of if he were to die. Okay, so it's pretty clear Karina disliked her husband and was often angry with him and wanted her share of the money from the farm. So in that case, divorce was out for her. But is there really a connection between her and Houston? Because clearly this farm wife who lived in close quarters with people that were all gun owners and users had never touched a gun before, according to her. She's also someone I don't think anyone really believed to begin with. And this is where my favorite thing, the phone analysis, comes in. Now, pattern of life refers to your regular routine when it comes to your cell phone, which is these days actually considered a part of your person. So if the first thing you do each day is check your email or the weather, let's say, that is part of your pattern of life. And any deviances from that pattern might indicate that something was maybe unusual that day.
It sounds like you received phones that belonged both to Karina Cooper and Houston Danker.
Well, 3 iPhones that I was advised were Karina Cooper's, and then there was 6 iPhones that I was advised was Houston Dankers. Yeah, so there is Google searches, health data, Facebook, or not Facebook, but text messages, Snapchat conversations, and then pattern of life.
And the focus for investigators was on the day of the murder. However, they did find several messages between Karina and Houston of a sexual and rather graphic nature that would indicate right up until the night of the murder that they were in fact involved romantically or at least sexually with each other. But even months before the murders, some of them didn't exactly make Karina or Houston look too good in regards to like her feelings towards Ryan. Like, for example, one of the Snapchat messages threads was a particularly sexually graphic one, was ended by Houston with the words, quote, "Here's hoping for a rogue semi today. Big accident, no survivors," end quote. But most damning was the activity on Karina's phone about an hour before the murder.
All right. So that was the Snapchat conversation that we saw where Miss Cooper said go, and then they talked about putting their phones down.
That is correct.
Right. That conversation ended at 3:32:58. And what was the next event that you noted in your timeline?
Yeah, that is at 4:13 when that live photo was viewed.
And that was on Karina Cooper's phone, correct?
Yes.
And what did you note next?
At 4:18 in the morning, there was 2 deleted photos.
And the next activity you noted on the phone that you included in your timeline?
Those were the steps taken between 4:23 and 4:33 a.m.
We'd heard previous testimony that Karina Cooper called Aaron Cooper at 4:30 a.m. Were you able to verify that information by examining the phone?
I was.
Now, just to clarify there was a text message exchange where Houston said something on Snapchat to her to the effect of, "Tonight is the night." And then Karina had responded with, "Let's go," which is not a good look. Now, Karina responds to this Snapchat with, "Absolutely 100%. And at 3:32 a.m., Houston tells her that his phone is going to go down, "Love you." Now, why these chats are so interesting to the prosecution isn't just that they show this relationship between Houston and Karina and that they had lied about that, but Karina said at the time of the murders she was asleep. But according to the health data on her phone, she was actually up and walking around.
So she said deal at 3:37 a.m. on June 18th?
Yes.
Karina's next message, what was that?
Kissy emoji.
That was 3 seconds later?
Yes.
Right after she said deal?
Yes.
15 seconds later, Houston Danker sent an additional message. What was the time of that message?
At 3:31:55 in the morning.
What message did he send to Karina Cooper?
Remember those casings. Fucking remember those. No ifs and or buts.
Now, let's talk a little bit about some of the Google search history on Houston's phone. Everyone loves to use Google on their phone. So what kind of stuff was Houston Googling?
What is the... You could just go through a couple of the results that you found.
Yeah, how to kill somebody with antifreeze. Best way to kill somebody with no way for anybody to find out who did it. How to save snaps without them knowing. And then the SS on here is how to screenshot on Snap without them knowing 2021. And that was search on February 16th, 2021. This is again on June 18th at 6:17 p.m. Our Snapchat's encrypted. This one's on July 1st, 2021 at 10:26 p.m. Where do murderers go to prison? This is July 2nd, 2021 at 10:29 p.m. Minimum security prisons in Iowa. This is again on July 2nd at 10:30 p.m. High security prisons.
I'm going to move forward here to the next slide looks like, or excuse me, the next line on your slide is July 3rd. What does this one say?
How long does it take to go through data forensics?
And the 10th?
Leavenworth Prison.
And July 16th.
How to permanently delete Snapchat data.
Well, there were quite a number about different kinds of poisons, but Ryan didn't die by poisoning. Like, and those messages were from back in February. So like sometime between the plan went from poison then to a gunshot is what the prosecution contends. Now, there's a lot of other stuff in there, but I think you get the gist of it. So it appears to me that they have a bit of a circumstantial case that Karina and Houston had plotted the murder of Ryan Cooper. Now, who actually did the shooting was kind of irrelevant. You can't use that, well, I didn't kill anyone, as a defense when you clearly were aware of the plan and then helped set it up. I mean, just ask Charles Manson how that defense worked out for him. Well, if he were still alive, that is. Anyways, after 3 years of gathering their evidence, Karina and Houston were then arrested. And Karina's murder charges went to trial in July of 2025. Now, Houston's were scheduled for August of 2025. We'll get to him in a little bit. Karina testified on her own behalf at her trial, always a well thought out move. Now, she had changed her story by this time a little bit and now blamed the whole thing on Houston, that he had tricked her and manipulated her, and that he was a lone gunman and she didn't do nothing and was aware of nothing. She was terrified of him. Oh, and keep in mind that because this took 3 years to investigate and then come to an arrest, Ryan's life insurance was actually paid out to Karina during this time before she was arrested, which she blew through pretty quickly on some weird business adventures.
How would you characterize the nature of your relationship with Ryan in general? I guess, was it good? Was it bad?
Generally speaking, I would call it good, normal.
Did you blow through all the life insurance money?
No. I spent some of it paying off debts and renting a home.
Okay, I do want to also, did you have a dream at some point to do an embroidery business?
Ryan and I had talked about that a little bit when we were getting ready to put up the new shop and talking about how I had overtaken his shop. I bought a Cricut. It's the vinyl cutting machines that you can make t-shirts with. I was kind of dabbling in that, and we had talked. Both of our moms are quilters, sewers. I wanted to buy an embroidery machine.
Okay. And did you end up buying one with some of the insurance money?
I did.
How much was that?
Around $12,000.
Okay. And did you start an embroidery business?
I did.
Did you do that out of your home?
I did.
At the same time, are you still selling soap and candles or no?
No.
After Ryan's passing, how much are you earning each? Like in 2022, how much money did you earn from your businesses?
From my businesses, none.
Okay, so you lost money.
I did.
And you still had 3 children to care for.
Yes.
They cost money.
They do.
I want to talk about the relationship with Houston. How did you meet him?
Technically by cutting his hair. Like others have said, it's a small town. I knew of him for years, but I started cutting his hair is how I met him.
Okay. How do we go from cutting his hair to Snapchat buddies?
Flirting a little bit when cutting his hair, talking about, he was having a lot of problems with his girlfriend or ex-girlfriend, the mother of his child at the time. He only had one. Was having some custody issues with her. He confided in me a lot about that, and I guess it kind of originated with me feeling like not a big sister, but an older person to him that has some experience in marriage and children, and just giving him advice and encouragement. And I felt kind of bad for him.
So if you stopped cutting his hair in February of 2021, did you ever have him, after you stopped cutting his hair, did you ever have him over to your house?
Not after February, no.
Did you ever see him in person again between February and June?
One time briefly in Waterloo, he had sent me a message asking if I could get him some beard wash. It's shampoo for the beard. And I agreed. And I had told him that I had a birthday present for his son as well to give him. And I was going to Waterloo, and I told him I would meet him outside of Shoe Carnival in Waterloo. And I dropped those items off to him, and that was it.
Saw a little bit in the Snapchat content about, was Houston jealous of your relationship with Ryan?
Houston acted like he was my husband and Ryan was my boyfriend. Like I was, if Ryan and I were together, he acted like I was sneaking around with my husband and cheating on him somehow.
If we had the other Snapchat content, would it show these things about Houston going off about Ryan?
Yes, several threats.
What would your reaction be when he's making these threats? How did you handle it?
Laughed it off, used sarcasm, sometimes replied inappropriately, like when he said one time, "Don't use your husband's truck in the morning, there's going to be a bomb planted under it." And I replied, "Gee, thanks for the heads up."
Yeah. Okay. So, does that mean, though, do those messages mean that you, or did you, want your husband dead?
No.
I guess we do have these Snapchats about shell casings. What's going on?
Again, it's not the first time that had been talked about. I didn't take him seriously. He had made a comment before about walking into the shop. When Ryan was there, I was gone with the kids at the swimming pool. And he had made a comment. He said, "If you get home and find your husband dead, make sure you pick up those shells for me." And I had asked him, "What in the world, like LOL, what does that mean?" And he said, "Well, according to CSI, that's how they always catch the killer." When those messages came through, I was more or less a Snapchat. Like most of you know, once you open a message and you exit out, the Snapchat is gone. It's not like a text that you can go back and reread what was there. I halfway read messages, didn't always read them thoroughly, I wasn't paying attention, plain and simple.
In your belief, when you said go, did you believe that you said more?
I know I said more. I sent 3 messages in a row.
What did they say?
Go to sleep. 3 messages, like putting periods in between the words to emphasize go to sleep.
Now, sorry, I just need to interrupt here and give you a little context. Part of Karina's defense is that there were Snapchats that were permanently deleted that the prosecution never saw, like kind of like missing messages and context that the jury didn't get to hear about. And one of these beauties was that the message where Karina tells Houston, "Let's go," was actually more like, "Let's talk about it tomorrow," or "go to bed," or something ridiculous and completely not believable like that. Anyways, carry on, Karina.
And then did you continue to lie to law enforcement for years?
I did. I was also being threatened by Houston for over a year and a half afterwards.
What was he threatening you with?
Beginning in September, so it'd be September of 2021, he started sending me Snapchats that he knew where I was at.
The affair with Houston, at one point, did it become physical?
There was one physical encounter, yes. It was the last time that I cut his hair.
Not in September of 2021.
No, not that last time. I'm sorry. The last time I cut his hair before he killed Ryan, it would have been in February. I cut his hair and we had sex.
Ryan was killed with your 3 children home. Would you ever orchestrate the murder of your husband with your 3 kids home?
Never. The prosecution had a little bit of a field day reviewing her testimony with her.
And you stated you weren't seeing Houston Dinker, claimed you weren't seeing him from February or March, or February, I guess. because you'd had sex and you didn't want to break up your family.
Correct. Excuse me. Correct.
You didn't want to break up your family.
Correct.
And yet, you are the same person texting Houston Duncan telling him you will be his wife. Correct?
Those are the texts I sent, yes.
Was there for a substantial amount of time trying to find out what had happened to your husband. You never told him that Houston Duncan shot him.
I did not.
And your children are crying and traumatized. You never said Houston Duncan did it.
I did not.
You never say, Aaron, Houston Duncan did it.
No, I did not.
Your husband, Ryan Cooper's body, is lying cold in his house. You were interviewed by DCI agent Ryan Harmon. Correct?
Yes.
You know why they were interviewing you. Correct?
Yes.
You never mentioned any of these texts or Snapchats that you sent at 3:30 in the morning.
No,
You never mentioned that I texted go.
that's not what I text. No, I did not mention it. I'm sorry. No.
You never mentioned that at 3:31 you sent a heart emoji to Houston Duncan.
I did not. I did not mention that.
In fact, it's Agent Harmon who brings up the name Houston Duncan.
Yes.
And your reaction, as the jury saw, is, are you incredible Agent Hammond Duncan? In fact, you tell Agent Herman, this is dumb, when he starts his line of questioning of Houston Duncan.
I did.
You characterize it as dumb.
That's what I said.
Your husband is lying in his house cold. You did not tell him that Houston Duncan has been threatening my life.
No.
You did not tell him that I have been sending him messages where I want to hold his dick. You have a conversation with Agent Talbot that spans 3 hours.
Yes.
He tells you, no detail is too small. Tell me everything.
Correct.
When the name Houston Duncan comes up, you don't tell him what you told this jury this morning, do you?
No.
You don't tell him that on the night of Rance Cooper death, that an hour before Aaron Cooper is called, you were texting Houston Duncan and telling him absolutely 100% I'll remember to take the shell casings.
I did not.
Why are you getting a private investigator?
I don't know. Frustration. I was frustrated.
You don't know why you're getting a private investigator.
Well, to solve Ryan's murder.
When you are the one who hasn't told this same agent what happened to Ryan and what you'd been doing with Houston.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
You want a private investigator to solve what happened, yet you have an agent who you're not telling your activities with Houston Duncan.
I did not tell him my activities, no.
Yeah, Karina, what's up with that? But don't worry, Karina has an answer for that.
You knew these things for so long. Why didn't you tell the police that Houston Duncan killed your husband?
Several reasons. I was scared. I was scared of Houston. I was scared of the police. I was scared. I was scared that I had lied for so long because I felt like I was being set up. I felt like no matter what, I was screwed, for lack of a better term. I was scared of the threats that he was making to my kids and my friends. And I felt that if I kept my mouth shut, he'd leave us alone.
I didn't say they were good answers. Well, after all of that testimony, something really surprising happened.
For form of verdict 2, we, the jury, find the defendant, Karina Cooper, guilty of the offense of murder in the first degree, dated this 11th day of July, 2025.
Just kidding. We knew that was coming. Karina has been convicted for first-degree murder, and her sentencing is yet to come. But according to legalclarity.org with regards to Iowa laws for Iowa first-degree murder, in Iowa, first-degree murder is a Class A felony, which is, of course, the most serious category of offenses. So you can face a mandatory life sentence with no parole for that. Now, as for Houston Danker, well...
27-year-old man has admitted to his role in the death of Ryan Cooper. Houston Danker pleaded guilty this morning to first-degree murder. Now, back in June of 2021, Cooper's wife, Karina, shot him to death in their home. A jury convicted Karina of first-degree murder earlier this year. Now, she was sentenced to life in prison, and that's scheduled for next month. Now, during her trial, prosecutors say Karina was having an affair with Danker, and they planned the murder together. But her defense team said Danker acted alone and killed her husband. In her testimony, she said Danker killed her husband, adding that she never told police about his involvement because she was scared of him. Danker now faces life in prison.
And that was the murder of Ryan Cooper. Quite the train wreck. And again, as I said, I love the bad acting. I love the ridiculous stories about these missing messages that, oh, you just didn't see the whole context. And for some reason, all these other parts of the same messages were lost in translation. I don't like that the life insurance got paid out to her before the arrest and all that, but it sounds like she didn't really benefit from it all that much anyway. She just spent it all on building businesses of selling soaps and things that were definitely not successful. Anyways, I appreciate you listening and watching wherever you are doing that. I will see you again next week with another terrible, awful case. In the meantime, carry on with your rates, reviews, comments, emails, whatever you want to do. And as always, thank you so much for listening and for watching.